Kumlenden Ablak Gemara, we are up to today. Samachay. We're actually on Samachay Omer already midway to the Mishnah. And we're continuing learning the laws of ribis, the laws of interest, and some very salient laws are here. Says the Mishnah. Marbin al Haschad. The Mishnah is a little bit cryptic, and the Gemara will explain what's going on here. Marbin al Haschad. You're allowed to increase the rent that somebody pays if there's a delay of time, even though it appears to be ribis. The only reason why I'm delaying it is because the only reason you're paying more is because I had use of your money, or you had use of your money. So we'll see how that works. The ein madbin al hamech. But when it comes to a sale, you cannot say if you pay later, you're going to pay more money. And Gemara explains. Let's say the landlord Reuben rents out a property to Shimon, and he says to Shimon, if you pay me bulk, immediate, prepay me after nicely, if you give me I'll charge you $10. 10 slime. If you're going to pay me over the year, Lashana for the year, but you can pay me monthly. That means I won't get paid straight away. It'll take 12 months till I get fully paid. Then sell al-chaydish, mutter, you're allowed to do that. I'm charging you more because I'm charging you more for being a late payer. Because I let you have your money longer than you have to pay me up front. I'm charging you extra. Isn't that straight ribis? And yet we're allowed. The Gemara will explain. But on the other hand, in contrast that, you sold him a field. You told me you pay me today. The price is X. If you pay me straight away, it'll cost you 1,000 zuz. But you're going to wait until the season is that you can sell your produce and make money, and then you're going to pay me. Then Mishnei Asaman, then you'll pay me a lot more. You'll pay Shnei Asaman another 20% hike, and that's like I'm saying to you. You want to keep your money. I'm lending you the money, allowing you to use your money longer, but you're going to pay me an interest charge of 20%. Also, that is forbidden. So I think, I don't understand. So how come by renting we said it is permitted, and why over here it's also? What's the difference? Is Rabba Rabbi Yosef Rabba Rabbi Yosef both said there's a big difference. The real price is not the discount. The real price is the price you pay me at the end of 12 months, which is 12 people. That's the Schidus does not really get paid until you complete whatever you were renting. So therefore, it doesn't fall due really until the very end. So that is the price. 12 months is the price. The high in this person, and this person, since it's early, and I'm giving you a discount, lav agenata mashahu. That's not called agenata. That's not pshat that I'm allowing you. No, the question is, if the price is really today's price, and I'm charging you a certain excess fee because you're not paying me straight away, I'm allowing you to keep your money, that's like a loan. Then if I do that and I charge you anything more, that is considered ibs. However, but if the real price is the price of what do you call it, today, if the real price is the price of tomorrow, and I'm just giving you a discount for paying early, then there's no ribas in this case. So that's going to be the fundamental difference between renting and buying, as the Gemara explains. The Gemara says, and behind this person, it's not the time yet. I'm not charging you extra for delaying the payment. It's not that. That's the price. I told you that if you pay me up front, it's only $10. I have a right to give you a discount for paying right now. However, safer when it comes to buying and selling, the price is the price of today. And if I allow you to pay me in 6 months' time, and I increase the price, that is a penalty. That is considered interest. Even because today is the real price. Even it's not like today I'm giving you a discount. This is the price. Even the since this is a sale, boil and mishkal dome achshav. And boil we should really let you take the money now. Now here's a aganatale. This that I'm allowing you to wait 6 months, and you pay me then. That's not and then I'm charging you in excess. That is a penalty interest. That is interest. But usher is forbidden. That is very forbidden. So as a general rule, that because it comes up, man, Shemota brings down that so the real question is, what's the real price And why are the two different prices? If the real price is today's price, but I'm charging you more because you're not paying me now, you're paying me in installments, for example, that is interest. But if the real price is the total that you're paying me in installment, but if you pay me right now, I'm giving you a discount, that is an interest. And that's how the Shlomo Paskins go find Zayin. However, this only works in like a sale. You're buying a product, and this is which is the price. But if it comes to money, and I say, look, you lend me $100, but if I lend you $100, but if you pay me 6 months, it's $100. But if you pay me early, I'm going to charge you less. That already looks like ribis, and that is forbidden. Omar Rava says, talk about Milsa. They looked into a book Macron. They actually found the pasuk where it says that schidus you don't have to pay until the very end. It says in the pasuk, "B'schir kischir shana b'shana." It says it's about Evid that kischir shana b'shana, the rent of the year b'shana. What do you mean in the year? What does that mean? Schidus shana zu ein mishtalem b'shana cheres. That the schidus of this year does not fall due until the beginning of next year. Now we did have a machlekes in a number of places in Kiddushin and other places about schidus if ein and if it's ein mishtalemes elul b'soif, if the schidus is only falls due at the end, or it's yeshna l'schidus mitchila v'atzaif. The discussion Kiddushin is about a woman. A man is working for a woman. He was hired by this woman, and then he said, I'm meichel you the payment that you're mekudesh to me. So we said it depends. If you hold that is not full due until the very end of the job, so therefore there's no loan yet, so he's giving you something. But if it falls due and incrementally, that means every time that there's a bit, so therefore as soon as it falls due and you're not paying me, it's like a loan. So when I'm saying, look, no, the entire skiddas you can keep, it means I'm a casual alone. If you look above there, I'm a casual above. I'm a casual milva, ain't a mikadeshes. She's not mikudesh. But that's all you're talking about in theory. But lepoil, you don't have to pay until the very end. Even though in theory, maybe according to one opinion, it's incremental, but even that opinion agrees that lepoil, when do you pay at the very end? So that's how the money is. Says the Gemara further, Nachman said, Tarsha, when it comes to a Tarsha, so Tarsha is when you sell merchandise, and if you don't have to pay me straight, if you don't pay me straight away, I charge you a higher price. Now, there's two ways of doing it. One way of doing it, I say, look, if you pay me right now on the spot, this is the spot price. But if you don't want to pay me now, you're going to pay me tomorrow, then the price is X. So I'm drawing a contrast between two prices. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is I don't talk about the price of today. I just tell you that it's due in 30 days and you owe me $100. So even though it's actually only worth $90, but if I don't spell it out, I just say, look, I'm selling to you for $100 and you don't have to pay me for 30 days or 60 days. So then, even though it's actually you're paying more than the price, nevertheless, that's called tarsha and it's permitted. Okay, says the Gemara, so tarsha is permitted. Yeah. And the Gemara explains. So the Ramachma says tarsha is permitted. The Gemara will define this in a minute. He says clearly not Mishnah, if you sell something, and I say, look, if you pay me now, it's X, but if you're going to wait until another 6 months, let's say till the right season, you sell produce and you make your money, you'll pay me then. Also forbidden. What's the difference? What's the difference? Tarsha in that case? There's a big difference. Over there, talking about I told you if you pay me now, the price is X. You pay me 6 months, the price is Y. And it's more than X. It's clearly this. I didn't tell you anything about the price of right now. I just told you what the price will be. The price is $100, and you have 3 months to pay. Even though I'm charging a bit more than what the going rate is, it doesn't matter. There's no reference point here, and therefore it's not considered ibis. Says the Gemara further. Yeah, says the Gemara. Now, and this is not really because this whole ribis is only the rabbanon, because you're not talking about lending you $100 you pay back on 20, which is even nicer. This is a sale that looks like ribis, which is with the rabbanon. So therefore, we are making the case where I don't draw any contrast between the price of today and the price of tomorrow. So the Gemara, the Papa says, shari. Mal Tarsha is permitted. So in some Gemaras have the gives a Nami Shadi, which means he agrees on Nachman when he goes a step further. But Rashi takes the guide is Tarsha Didi Shadi. In fact, he argues that Nachman, he's more lenient. Nachman says only if you draw any contrast. Papa might even be talking about where you do draw contrast. So he's saying that in my case, since I am not benefiting at all, what happened was he was a bear maker and he was very wealthy from that. And what he did was, if it's seasonal, the price is higher. If it's off season, the price is lower. And when he sells something off season, he would charge the higher price. And he says to the guy, "You pay me in 6 months' time when the higher price is due, and that's going to pay me the higher price." Even though right now, if I would have sold you, if you would have paid me, it would have been a much lower price. So Chayda isn't that ribus. Says that Papa, my tash is permitted. Why? Because I gain nothing from it. My beer would be the same beer tomorrow. I have no reason to sell them today. I don't need the money because I'm a very wealthy man. And because I have no benefit, this is when there's some benefit to the moicha. Says I have to the lender. Says I have absolutely no benefit. The Malva has no benefit from it. So that kind of tash is also permitted. As the Gemara will conclude, that's not halacha. Amar Papa Tashdi Shari, my time she kroy leposid. That what my beer that's even though it's off season, I could have waited till the season and sold full price. And no reason why I shouldn't. I don't need the money to either. The kavin son of us. The kavin and musik of the kech. The only reason I'm selling it right now is to do the kech a favor. But he knows he has his beer and so on and so forth. So why in the world should I pay the price, charging the price of today? I have no benefit, there's no ribs. Comes along and Rav Sheshes and says, my what are you doing? You're looking at yourself. You're saying that since for me, it is not, I have no benefit, there's no ribs. Yeah, but what about the lekeach? Zil bosses to do. Go after the kech. If he would have had money today, he would have bought at a cheaper price. But because he has no money and he wants to be sure that he has beer, so he buys from you and he's paying a higher price. So he is paying interest. You're not getting, let's say, interest, but he is paying interest. The ilo have a shock. He has to be. Had money, he would pay the price of today. So the less he has no money, shock so that's outright ribas. So we don't agree that puppet. However, Rab Chama says, now this Rab Chama is very important because there's a concept called Heter Iska. Heter Iska is a way of how to get around, circumvent the problems of making loans to Yidden with interest. And we have a Heter Iska Proti, Heter Iska Kloler, and it started a few hundred years ago, but it's all started based on this Gemara. And over time, it was more defined, but it started out based on the Gemara purely in the following way. And as we'll see from the Gemara, we'll explain in a minute. My Tarsha is permitted. What do you mean, Tarsha? This is what he did. He had merchandise to sell wherever he was. So he would give it to some people who were traveling to another city where it's worth more money. And he said to them, you sell my merchandise in that city. The money that you earn from that, which is my money, I'm going to allow you to use that to buy things which are cheap there and expensive there. The thing I'm giving you is cheap here, expensive there. In turn, you will buy things that's yours, and it's a loan, and you'll come back and be giving and pay me the higher price. In other words, even though my merchandise worth here is only $100, over there is worth $200. So even though I'm giving you merchandise worth $100, and you're coming back to me and you're going to pay me back $200, it's not interest because I'm giving you the merchandise to sell over there. You're going to sell for $200. Use that money to buy whatever you want. You come back to me $200. So why isn't that a case of interest? Why is this Tasha permitted? Because I'm giving it to you as a business investment. We had before yesterday. We have that I am taking full responsibility of these goods until you not only you sell them, but until you sell them. And then with the money, and when you sold them, so the cold man, you didn't sell them yet, they're mine. I didn't lend them to you yet. It's a business investment. Once you sell it, then it turns into a loan. And what did I lend you? I lent you $200 because that's what you sold it for. And you bring it back $200. So therefore, it's not considered interest on a loan because it's a business investment and I am taking responsibility. And because I am taking responsibility, it's a business investment. Plus, you have to pay some kind of a wage as well. So otherwise, at least the tircha is all for you, even though it's a business investment, I'm taking the risk. But if he does all the work and it looks like, and he's paying me more than what I gave him, it looks again like interest. The profit looks more like interest because he's doing it all for me. So we say that you have to give him some kind of a wage. And by giving him some kind of a wage, so he's working for the wage, and then it's a business investment. Only when there's a profit, that profit is considered a loan, and he's paying me back. Whatever the new, even though I put in $100 in the business, now the business profit is $1,000. But it was still because I took the risk, because I, the investor, took the risk. It's considered my money until it actually makes a profit. And when there's a profit, then it's a loan, and we split whatever we agreed on, and you give me back. So because my money became $500, my money became $500. You had nothing to do with it. To make sure you have nothing to do with it, I have to make sure you get a wage. In this Gemara here, what is the wage? You're not paying them. So the wage is, as we'll see, the wage will be that they now are working as a distributor for this Ameda, and they have all the benefits of an Ameda. That means they don't pay taxes, so that's their wage. They don't pay taxes. That their products should be sold first, because the din is that a Talmud Chacham's product should be sold first. In fact, they should shut down the marketplace, sell the Talmud Chacham's products, and everyone else can sell. So they have advantages, and that's their wage. It says the Gemara, and that is the basis for a heter isker. And over time, it was more and more defined. My time because they're happy because it's still in my possession. It's still in my possession until they convert it into money. That's what turns the loan. And what do they get from it as well? They don't have to pay any taxes, including the products that they bought themselves. They don't have to pay any taxes. That's like the wage that I'm giving them. So they don't pay taxes, and as well that that we'll shut the whole shuk down until they do whatever it is with their schayda, they buy, and they get whatever they want to sell again. So therefore, they have an advantage of that. The halach is like Rab Chama, which we just said. And the end of Nach, that if you don't compare the two prices, you just say, this thing is $100, it'll really is $100, and you pay me 60 days. I don't say, but if you pay me now at this price, that's the problem. If you have the two prices, but if you have no contrast, even though I'm charging you more, I'm saying this is the price for paying me in 2 months, and I'm not saying this is what the real price should be. Then you're permitted, and Rab Chama goes further, and this is actually the basis of heter. We had before whether yotzei dayanim or not. The din is it does go out dayanim, they take back the interest. And we also like Rabbi Yana, we said before, mali hay, mali demand. That that if you're buying a saw for a saw, but if let's say when it comes time to pay, let's say I lent you money, and when or whatever it is, wine, and now the price of wine went up, which you're allowed to. We said if you had wine at the time, I paid you for wine right now at a whatever the going rate is, and then in 3 months from now you'll pay me wine back. Wine might go up in price. You're allowed to, because you said provided because that is the current price, Yotzar Shar, that's the fixed price. Or you had wine right now that you could have sold me, you could have given me straight away. So any increase of price is mine. But then when it came to pay in 3 months that for me to pick up my wine, what happens if you don't have any wine available? So the question is, can you give me the money? But now the money is, when we talked about it, when I was $25, now it's going to give me $30 cash in return. And he let you have the money. It's like a lender getting back $30. So we had a machlekes. But Avyana said that not only can you take your money back, but $30, but also mali hein, mali man. You can get. Rabbi says that not only can you change the wine to wheat, let's say, and say, okay, I'll give you wheat for $30. You can even give back money, direct money. And I've said no, money you can't give back because that really looks like deep. I lend you 25, I get back 30. But if you give me wine instead of wheat in the place of wine, even though wheat's around $40, it doesn't look like deep. It looks like Rabbi. The next mission. What happens? The Mochel said he sold him a field, the Nosson and mixes dummy. He sold him a field. Let's say Reuben sold a field to Shimon, and Shimon, the buyer, gave only 20% of the field. The Amalek said to him, "Look, whatever you want, bring me the rest of the money, and then you'll get the field." Also, so the question is, but also it is forbidden. Why is it forbidden? Why it was forbidden? You now do the kind of arrangement. Because what actually happened? He said to him, "Okay, it's the beginning of the year, and here is you can pay me." The Shimon paid Reuben, the seller, 20%, and then the seller says to him, "Whenever you bring me the balance, retrospectively, ma'achshav, the field will be yours." Now that is a problem. Why is it a problem? There's two possibilities. One possibility is that he will bring the rest of the money, and therefore he'll get the entire field, and the field will be retrospectively Shimon's. Or he won't bring the rest of the money, and then Reuben will give Shimon back his money. In a case where he brings the rest of the money, so who owns the field retrospectively? Shimon, the buyer does. So if during the time till he brings the rest of the money, but by the moment the Reuben's still sitting on the field because he doesn't know Shimon will bring the rest of the money. And if Reuben continues eating the payers, he is eating Shimon's payers. Because if Shimon brings the money in 12 months' time, then retrospectively it was Shimon's field, and Reuben had no right to eat the fruit. So why is Reuben eating the fruits? Because Reuben allowed him to wait 12 months to pay the balance, the 80%, right? So it's as if Reuben became the lender, lent the 80% to Shimon, and what did he get? He got his money, but he also got all the fruits. That's pure rebus. And if Reuben, let's say Shimon does not end up bringing the money, that means all along whose field was it? It was Reuben's field because Shimon never bought it. And if Shimon then eats the fruits, that means that in this case, Shimon was the lender because he gave 20% of the money to Reuben, which then he can get back. And if Shimon then, if the fruits belong to the seller Reuben, and if but Reuben had use of that money because Shimon is taking it back. So Shimon is a lender. Let Reuben use the money, and then and Reuben then is giving back the money. And if Shimon eats the fruits, it means that Shimon is benefiting from the fact that he lent money to Shimon. So we don't know which way it's going to play. Who ended up because retrospectively, if he gave the money, then the fruit belonged to Shimon. So if Reuben eats it, it's a problem. The Moich eats is a problem. And if he does not give the money, then all along it was Reuben's field. And if Shimon eats it, it's a problem. So we don't know which way to go. So that's why you shouldn't go ahead this way. Hilveyu al Sadeh. Let's say he lent him money on a security of the field. He said to him, if you don't pay me in 3 years my loan, then Harehu Shali, this field belongs to me. Harehu Shali, the field belongs to him. And the chiddush here is that the field is worth more than the actual loan. Yet you're allowed to. And we'll see soon why. Yeah. Before this, what Baisim did based on the Chachamim, that you're allowed to do this. The Gemara asks, first of all, first of all, who eats the paydas? In the first case in the Mishnah, where the guy paid like a down payment, to pay partial money, who eats the paydas? Rabhuna says, we'll soon see how that works. And Rabhuna give it to a third party. There's no argument. If he told them, if he told, look, the field belongs, he said that Reuben said to Shimon, Reuben the seller, said to Shimon the buyer, when you pay me the full 100%, the field is yours. So whose paydas is it till then? It belongs to Reuben, the Meichi. So in that case over there, then the Meichi continue to pay this, because even when Shimon brings the full money, it only becomes Shimon's from that moment. That's when the transfer of ownership takes place. No problem. And when the Rabbi said nobody can eat from it, is talking about l'chimaisis, when you're bringing the money, k'nima achshav, you'll be kind of from now. And as we explained before the Mishnah, neither of them could eat. Talking of Rav said in the Mishnah, in the Braisa that talk about ribis. That there are 4 possibilities. Probably in a certain possible time, Shnei Mutar, they're both allowed to. Moicha and Lekeh can eat the fruit. We'll soon see. Sometimes certain circumstances neither can eat. So sometimes the moich is permitted and the lekeh, the buyer is forbidden. Sometimes the buyer is permitted to eat fruits on moich rasa. But he didn't explain himself. He's on the Rabbi Basrei. So Rabbi explained as follows. Sometimes they're both permitted. Amalei said, if he said to him, Kni Keshir Zuzich, okay, this is a large tract of land, is a field. It costs $1,000. You gave me $200. 1/5 of the field is yours. So if the lokeach can eat the produce from that 1/5 of the field, because his already, there's a transfer of ownership, and the meicher can eat from the fruits about 80% because there was no transfer of ownership of that. But I mean, so that's how that's permitted for both. Both also, like case of the Mishnah. The said to him, when you're bringing the money, you be kind of retrospectively. Now we don't know what's going to happen. It will turn into a sale. It will be a loan. We don't know how it's going to end up. So sometimes the meicher is permitted where the field still belongs to the meicher and the lekech cannot eat, obviously, because it's the meicher's payers. When you bring me the money, you'll be kinder. So in the meantime, whose field is it? The meicher. Of course, he can eat fruits, but the lekech cannot eat from the fruits because it's not his. And if he does eat from the fruit, besides being not his, if he does eat from the fruits, since he's giving him a use of the money till he pays the whole amount in 7 months' time, comes out that he's getting back not only a field, but he's also for the use of the money that he lent to the seller. He's eating the fruits. That's ribis. So sometimes the lekech is permitted, but the meicher is forbidden. How is that? The other way around. And that is, this is what he said clearly. The field is yours. Not that, well, okay, it's up to you whether you buy the field or not. The field is yours. But and you owe me now the balance. So since the field outright belongs to Lekech, who's paid us at the Lekech? And if the Meicha eats from it, looks like he's getting paid. The fact that he allowed the Lekech to delay the payment, the Meicha is getting not only his money, but also the paytas, and that's it. Who said that both of them are also now? Remember, the cases we don't know which way it'll go. Will it turn into a loan? For example, he doesn't proceed with buying the property, or will it remain a sale and he does proceed with buying the property? So it's not definite. It'll be reverse over here. Is who says both of them are also? I'm going to sure the like Rabbi Yehuda doesn't follow Yehuda we had recently. The Rabbi Yehuda, he said tzadech. He says if it's a possibility to turn into ribus and a possibility that it does not turn into ribus, like in the case we had before, then there's no ribas here. And here clearly, in the case, not we're talking about money, we're talking about where you're, let's say, buying and selling something that looks like that ribas rabbanon, then it is permitted. Says about it further. So Mishkan like bias, Mishkan like sada. Let's say you gave a security a house, you gave security a field. The Amalai, and he said to him, this is what the lender said to him. Look, I have your house, I have your thing here as a mashkin, but if you ever want to sell it, like if you ever want to sell it, I want you to sell it only to me, and then there's two possibilities. Either he says bedamim halalu, the money I lent you, now also is forbidden because it's clear I'm getting a discount. According to Rashi, I'm actually adding a few dollars to the money I lent you, but still it's forbidden. According to Rashi, the chiddush that even so it's forbidden because I'm getting a discount on the normal price. So why am I lend you money? That's it. According to Rashi, I don't have to add any money. I didn't add any money. I'm saying against the loan, and it's also. But b'shavyein, I said, look, I want to have the first right of refusal. Full market value, but I want to have first right of refusal. Mutter, because here already there's no financial benefit, so it is mutter, because he's paying him full market value. Says the Gemara, Tanya we learned, B'damim halalu awesome. So yeah, Montana. Who is the author when it says B'damim halalu awesome? If he says with the money of the loan, even a little bit extra, it's a bit l'chayda over here again. It's only a tad echa b'ribos. Why is that b'ribos? Because maybe he'll never want to sell. So when you talked about it, when you negotiated, I have first right of refusal, but refusal what? If he doesn't want to sell, don't talk about it. So who says will ever turn into ribis? And Abiyudah says in a case where it does not necessarily turn into ribis, not talking about direct cash loan, talking about it in a commercial way, then it is permitted. Must be like Abiyudah. Abiyudah, next case, he sold him a house, and he sold him a field. When you have, if he said, when I will have money, if the buyer said, look, he sold the guy a house, and he said, but when I have money, you have to give it back to me. Now, if he gives it back to him, that means all along the money that was parked with the vendor would turn into a loan, because the buyer says, made a conditional, contingent, you will return to me my field if I pay you out the money. Right now, I'm desperate for money. So that means the money sitting by the vendor turned into a loan. Then it is usher, it is forbidden. Then it's forbidden. However, why? Because all that time, who has been eating the fruits? What do you call it? The Moich has been eating, let's say 4 years later, the guy brings the money and says, hey, give my field back. So who's been eating the produce the last 4 years? The Moich. But all the money now turned into a loan. Comes out that the Moich not only got his money back, but he also received the use of fruits. Is also, but if the Moich says, the converse. The seller says, a nice guy, and he says, look, I know you're desperate now, here's the money or anything else. But if you have money, I will then give it back to you, mutter is permitted. If the moicha says, when you have money, I will give it back to you, the field, That's permitted because it wasn't conditional. Murder was no. First of all, Montana. More explaining the difference in two cases. Montana. First of all, who's the author? Again, we don't know if it'll ever turn into a sale, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, it'll never. That's not an Issa Ribis, so that obviously does not follow Rabbi Yehuda. Montana, Rabbi Yehuda, should like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda, but even Mutter, he holds that if that's not necessarily going to turn to Ribis, it is permitted. Maishna Reisha, Maishna Sefer. What's the difference of the Lekeach is the one who makes it conditional that I want to be able to buy back my field, or if it's the Meicher that said you can buy back your field. So what's like this? Reisha the Amalei Medaita. Sefer the Amalei Medaita. Reisha is talking about where the lekech makes it conditional, which means it's a straight out loan, turn into a straight out loan with interest. However, the Sefer is talking about where the meiches says it, not the lekech, and the meiches is saying, when you have money, come to me. If I decide to, I'll be a nice guy. I'm not committing myself. Could be I'll give it to you. So therefore, there's no ribas in this case. And if I do accept the money and I give you back the field, it's not pshat that means all along the field was never sold to me. The buyer said to the Meicher, if you have money, I will give you the field, but it's my choice. So what does it mean? That till now it was the Lekech's field, the purchaser's field. And if he decides 3 years later when the guy brings the money to give the field back, it's a new sale. Therefore, there's no ribas here at all. Mashenga, when he's forced to give it back, that means that all along it's never a real sale. Because if it's a real sale, how can you force me? That means it's never a real sale. So the money that's sitting here was always it was just a loan. It's turned into a loan. It's a loan, and there's ribas because the person's eating the paytas. Says the Gemara, the person is only there's a person who sold a property to his friend without achrais. Without achrais. So anyway, so now the price is he saw that he sold him the property already. He saw that he was depressed. The seller saw he's depressed. But now when the seller sold him the property, he said to the buyer, "Look, if this property gets confiscated by one of my lenders, too bad. I'm telling you, I don't have any lenders, but if it happens, too bad." He saw at the very end, the guy looked depressed, dejected. Amalei, Amaya, Tzivit, why are you so depressed? Eat thoughtfully. I'll tell you right now, if anybody takes it away from you, I'm so sure that nobody will. If anybody does, I will allow you to collect from me. Shufra, Shvacha, Peda. The best fields, any improvement you made on the fields, any produce, everything you can take back. Question is that a commitment or just waffle? Amar Amema said, Betume milma ba'alma, some words. Now, Taisa says over here that you know why it's some words? Because this is the very end. This is already when they agreed on the sale, they agreed everything else. They have to be depressed. But if this was happening in the beginning of this negotiations, and the guy said what he said, then he has to keep it. In fact, even if you make a contract, but before we made the contract, we negotiate back and forth exactly what it should be, at least in English law, that if you negotiate back and forth what the conditions should be, and in the contract the guy left it out, then we follow the negotiations that happened before, and that's what it says here. In the negotiating before this was agreed on, that's it. It's binding. It's talking about it here that he was depressed after negotiations were over. Then we say "Patumim malmas." Tam waffle. Stop talking. Time of my. It seems from here. What is the reason? He understood the reason is because the lekech should have made it contingent. But instead of the lekech, the buyer should say, "Look, to protect himself, the meicher is offering it, and therefore, because the meicher is offering it, we say it's down waffle." In other words, you're saying that the person who should have made a conditional didn't, and the other guy who didn't really have to step in, it means nothing. That's what you're saying. So let me ask you a question. The Baraisa we just learned. The time we learned the Baraisa before. The buyer says, "Look, seller, I know that you're a vendor. I know that you're desperate for money. That's why you're selling this property." But the buyer says, "If one day you have money, come back to me, and I'll give you the field." And you say it's not a problem. You know, a problem. The moicher who the buyer lisnuye. Why? Because the moicher, the seller, should have made the tanai, and the seller should have said, "Look, I'm desperate for money, and if I want you to say that I give you money, if I have money, I'll give it back to you. You'll come and give me the field back." Right? The seller should have done it. In this case here, the Moicha didn't make the tzai, but the Bai made the tzai. And yet, we asked the Gemara, what's the relation of Sefer? Amar says, Sefer the Amale Medaite. Not the word is because the Moicha who didn't really have to make the Tanai, the Moicha should have made the Tanai, didn't. And the Lekeach who was kind enough to offer, look, if you come back the money, take your property. And Rava says that the difference is Sefer Dom Medaite. The difference is not who said it. The difference is that the buyer never committed himself. He just said, look, if you have the money, come back to me and maybe I'll give you the field back. So because he didn't commit himself, it's up to me at the time what I want to do. So time the only reason because he said it's not a commitment. But if he would have made a commitment, if the buyer would have made a commitment, it would have been fine, it would have been binding. Now you just said that the chilik is that only that the person who should have made a commitment or should have made a contingent didn't do it, so therefore he forfeits, and he writes there, and the other person who didn't have to says things. We say to me about I'm talking here. It seems that even if the person who offered the lekeach, he said, look, if you ever have money, come back and I'll give you the field. Maybe I'll give you the field. The vart is not because the lekeach said the moichet. It's because the lekeach never committed himself. Amalei said, no, you misunderstood. It's as if he's saying I'm not committing myself. Even if he did, doesn't mean anything because it's not the lekeach who has to make it contingent. It's the moichet has to make it contingent. Interesting, in the Gemara we had before, we said that if I said if you don't pay me within 3 years, then I'm taking your field, and even though I'm getting it at a big discount, I'm getting it at a big discount. Anyway, we'll talk about it another time. So the Gemara said further. One more piece of Gemara that's similar to this idea of 2 mil stam words. There was a person who was dying. The cost of the he wrote to get to his wife. He wrote to get to his wife because he had a brother who didn't. He had a brother, and they didn't have any children. He was worried that if he died, and he's dying, that she will be stuck with his brother. So he gave her an outright get, and he didn't make it conditional. It wasn't a conditional get. Angid v'asnach, and then the husband started to krecht. She said to him, what do you krecht for? You do the right thing. You want to protect me. He said, look, she went one step further. He did not make it conditional that if I survive this and I become healthy again, you're still my wife. He didn't make it conditional. So he krechts. She said, look, you're worried. I promise you that if you survive and if you recover, I am yours. What she said means nothing. Even if he survived, she has a get. She's a free woman. It's up to her now whether she wants to live with him or not. I don't understand how you're comparing the case. Because the Vart she didn't have to, but I don't understand how you're comparing the case of the woman to the previous case. And why not? Because the woman she couldn't have made the Tanai. It's not up to her. She receives the get Balkarcha. It's completely up to him. If he didn't make the Tanai, she can't make it tonight. So what he's saying, of course, it's 2 million. She's not in a position to make any conditions. He laughed to me, my big dog. He says like this: he laughed to me. Even if it's not considered words, who cares if she makes it tonight? She says, look, she said, don't worry about it. If you recover, the get's not a get, I'm your wife. It's not up to her. And my bidita kaima the mishnah tonight begita, she has a right to throw tonight on a get. Bidita kaima, it's up to him. The mishnah tonight, it's up to him to whether to attach and throw tonight onto the thing. Was enough. Ma'atin, I would have thought, understanding his mind, what's he doing? He's trying to help her out. He's trying to help her out. So whatever she wants, he'll agree with. So therefore, if she made this tonight, and Lori, the get is not a valid get if you recover, I would have thought as if he's saying the same thing because he wants to make her happy. But you have Gita. He's giving get based on whatever she wants. It doesn't work. It's only 2 million. She doesn't mean it either. I'm saying it to assuage him, to comfort him, and to make him feel good. Have a good day. Continue, Mitzvah Shem.